Welcome everyone. This is episode 44 of the Transmaxxing podcast. And today's topic is if most males are becoming obsolete.
So this is a very divisive topic, but I think it's a very necessary conversation that we need to have, considering the direction society is going.
Yeah, obviously there are a lot of males who do not feel desired by really anyone.
It's almost like they didn't really have a purpose except when we were surviving against the elements in the first place.
I mean, there are some jobs that males do more, but for the most part, the male physical strength has become obsolete because we can have machines that do it way better anyway. So we don't need that physical labor as much anymore.
Exactly.
And even worse when it comes to wars, for example, where sure you can say that we still need males for that because we're competing governments. But here is the thing, if there were no males it will be that much different and it will be females fighting instead. But because there is this competition between states, we end up with a situation where males are forced into combat against their will because the states who are willing to use more cannon fodder end up winning and crushing the states that are unwilling to go as far. So we end up with the most brutal and efficient governments on top.
Precisely.
Yeah, and if you look even today, for example, in Bakhmut earlier, Russia struggled to take the city, so they ended up just sending wave after wave of males used to get slaughtered, used to like gradually take more and more territory, and this was their way of like taking the city, and it worked. They did take it eventually.
Exactly. It's quite worrying to be fair because a lot of males don't have much identity left in society anymore. There's very few things that they can do, and a lot of the time, a lot of the things that we would say were typically male have just been viewed as outright problematic today. So there's a lot of male energy going about that isn't satisfied. And unfortunately, when you get males that fail to socialize, some of them end up doing drastic things such as school shooting or going on a mass killing spree or becoming a serial. You never hear of female versions of that. It's extremely rare.
Was there one FTM which doesn't count because they are on testosterone and incel probably as well?
Yeah, I would count FTM as male for statistic reasons anyway, because typically the behavior patterns are extremely similar to the sex that they end up transitioning to, despite what some people say research suggests otherwise. There's even larger studies suggesting this is more frequent. Apart from physical strength, generally the female body is more efficient. It's better at fighting off viruses. It's better at keeping itself sustained. The male body is very efficient at physical labor, but that's as far as it goes. And we go back to our original talking point where we say that males are pretty much here just to fight each other and fight the elements. It really does reflect that. You can see so many illustrations of this throughout society. The males have to protect the females. There's so many cues in society, even in music, in popular culture, and even just in general, that suggest this is pretty much the core mechanics of how our society and us as a species work.
I think the biggest problem for males is that even when they are needed by society, they're not really being rewarded for it. And I can give two examples. Let's start with work. For example, a lot of males go to work, then they end up paying a lot of that in taxes for other people, and then they might still not be able to start a family because
Precisely. So the worrying thing here is that a lot of males in general will just they'll end up getting cut off because their role isn't exactly appreciated in society and it doesn't get fulfilled. As a result, we all know what happens next.
so as you might have seen, as technology progresses, traditional masculinity becomes less and less needed, and this will be especially the case once a single government controlled the entire planet, because at that point males are not even needed for wars anymore. So then, are males really needed, or do we have to figure out something better?
Yeah, currently the kind of work that males are like more likely to do, the laborers jobs don't even pay enough, you know? Like for them to like have to do something that they can only do, they don't even get paid enough, and then their body wastes away, and then they're not able to get the help they need when they get of old age and retire.
Yeah, a lot of those manual labor jobs are really hard on the body and not even paid that well anyway. Some pay okay, kind of depends on your area. And like especially the military doesn't pay super well if you get paid at all a lot of countries, because they have to cater towards the elderly. The young people are basically enslaved to the military, have to work for free, while the elderly get the welfare and all the money.
Yeah, it's a very messed up place. I know my brothers kind of deal with like a hard time getting women as well because they're very specific, and even if they're like well intentioned good guys, that's not enough these days to pull women. Socially, it seems like men are just seen as like a danger more than, like an equal human.
Yeah, and there is this constant pressure males have to like provide for society and women,
Yeah.
and they have to perform to meet the certain rules. And if males feel that they are not really decided by society at large anyway, they might have like models who care about them or whatever. Or they might join some like male dominated communities. But the thing about like male dominated communities is that everyone there really will prefer hanging out with females, but they can't because females don't want them.
Yeah. I think the worst part about like the whole male aspect is like there can be a very cold loneliness with it all. And like it's hard to like undo that, you know? Like there's internet spaces now, but who knows if you're gonna join a radical one and like do something dangerous to society.
I also question if online spaces really provide that good of companionship anyway. I think people have a need to like meet other people in the real world for meaningful friendships and relationships. And males don't really get that because other males are competition, so it becomes unstable, and you have to be aware about other males so they don't take advantage of you.
Yeah. And when you get to places that are like more male driven, it's always like a competition, and like exactly that. You got to be on your toes because like some of these guys are willing to like do whatever it takes to like get an edge over you one way or another. And it can be just very tiring when you just like want to have a friend and it's like people just being fake to you and stuff as well because they see you more as a rival than a friend.
I do think that long term people have to feel that they are wanted by society, that they have a role to fill. And right now, males don't really have that to a large extent. And I question the need to have like a big portion of the population feel like the society doesn't want them.
Yeah, especially when you see some of the internet discourse out there. It seems like men are propped up to be in a position of privilege, which gives the woman full privilege to like just bash them however they want, and like it's just causing a weird, stupid division in the community or in the world between the people who are online. And yes, the toxic sentiment that happens from these arguments kind of do like stick into the real world a little bit, and it can be very dangerous. especially for men to feel like there's some sort of outcast, because there has been dangerous people to go on and follow their intrusive thoughts and do very atrocious things to society.
Yeah, I've heard of some horror cases, like there was guys in South Korea who would manipulate females into taking sexual photos of themselves, or even rape them in public and film it, and then they would extort them later on with that video evidence, and pressure them into doing thicker and torture stuff to themselves, and this would never end. So, and this was done by incels in South Korea, who were frustrated by females and stuff. And one, he got leg lengthening surgery to get slightly taller. And then when he was riding his bike with his Ford, the police came to him and arrested him for it because he got busted.
Oh my god, that is so horrible.
I think it's expected that a lot of males feel like they have nothing to lose because they are so low in terms of status, will do radical, dangerous stuff. And it can be joining some cult or doing criminality or anything.
Yeah.
In a society where people feel like they are at the bottom, those people at the bottom will be the most prone to change the system, to rebel against it if they can. And even if they can't overthrow the system, they might still resort to criminality and hurt other people.
Yeah. A lot of people in the comments may be suggesting this is why therapy is needed. But that can also just have messed up thoughts in your head that not a single person really cares about you in your life, that you have to resort to paying someone else to listen to your thoughts and then probably not even help you in the long run.
I think the problem here is that you're suggesting therapy, but if people are legitimately having issues like being homeless and being rejected, is a real problem. This is not just in someone's head. And I think we shouldn't overestimate how much we can manipulate people via therapists. I think they're more effective ways anyway. Right now I see a lot of males resorting to video games and porn to satisfy themselves to some extent. I think it's kind of sad and overrated. I want a society where people actually have meaningful relationship with other real people, where we don't have a large segment of the population who feel like they are worthless and not really have a purpose, and where we work together to protect each other and take care of each other, while also advancing humanity forward. And this marks the end of episode 44 of the Transmaxxing podcast. I hope that this will make you consider a better path forward for humanity.